Get ready for the battle of the Joes. Moderate Democrat Joe Manchin sounds like he's open to ditching his own party and potentially challenging Joe Biden in 2024.
If you run for office in 2024, you going to run as a Democrat?
Chuck, I haven't made a decision what I'm going to do in 2024.
So everything on the table, there's basically only one other thing, the presidency. Is that something you would do outside the Democratic Party?
The only thing I can tell you is what I will do is whatever I can when I make my decision, what I think is the best that I can support and represent the people of West Virginia, but also be true to this country and the Constitution of this country.
Do you want President Biden to seek re-election?
I have to make that decision.
You haven't decided. If he does, you're not ready to support him?
I haven't decided on anything I'm going to do until I see what the lay of the land is going to be at that time, because this country needs to unite.
Interesting. And Manchin says this is a big reason why.
I think he's been pulled to the left too far, and I think I've told him that.
Yeah.
I've been up front with that. That center is what the country wants. That's what the people want in America. The Republican ideas aren't always bad, and the Democrats don't have all the answers, and vice versa.
Jessica, this is very interesting. I'm very excited by this because all the while I was thinking that the Republican Party would be cleaving, right? If Trump decides to run on his own, and that would be an absolute disaster. Yeah. But what happens if the Democrats do the same thing? Then you have four candidates, and you might end up getting the best candidate you ever got because of the double cleaving. The best one will be the one that holds everybody together.
The double cleave?
Yes. What do you say to that, Jessica?
Political double cleave.
Yes.
Interesting. Unfortunately, we're just too much of a two-party system for an independent to really. I mean, Angus King obviously does it and Bernie does it, but they're Democrats, right? They caucus full-time with the Democrats. They rarely even push back against them. This would be something very different, and probably what Kristen Sinema is going to be doing in Arizona now, and she just got her first formal challenge. Congressman Ruben Gallego got in this morning to that race. It doesn't bode well for Democrats' success or even left-leaning independents. So I think that Carrie Lake said she's exploring the idea of a Senate run. I worry that hands Arizona to a Republican. But in West Virginia, Joe Manchin, what he didn't mention in the interview is now they don't like him there anymore. So he won by 42 points in 2018, and now he's one of the top 10 most unpopular senators in the country. His approval is at 38%. And after he went in with Joe Biden on the Inflation Reduction Act, the West Virginians said, hey, I thought we had this independent-minded. It's fine that you were a Democrat, but now not so much. So I think it's more about that than anything else. But certainly if he switched to another party, Democrats would have absolutely no shot on the state level to keep that seat.
Jessica brings up an interesting point, the independent mind of Joe Manchin. I find this incredibly startling. You know why, Dana? Because I have a sports analogy I'd like to share with you. Okay. The most important person on a football team is a quarterback because everybody else's vote is canceled out. Right? A lineman has another lineman, receiver has a defensive end. The quarterback is the one that scrambles. That's the one who can make the decisions. Isn't that kind of what say, Manchin might be for the Democrats, Rand Paul for the Republicans? They end up in every issue the most important person because you know what everybody else is going to do. So they get to flirt. They get to attract people. They become very appealing. You see my point?
I do, I think. What's a quarterback do again?
I don't really know what I was talking about.
I'm just kidding. Okay. So I feel like we have this conversation about Manchin over and over again.
Yes.
And one, I don't think he's going to become a Republican because if he was going to do that, he would have done it by now. And if he does it now, it would just look totally craven and not based on any principle. It would be based on trying to get reelected in West Virginia. He is popular in West Virginia. He did win by a large margin. Is it too far gone now for him there? Maybe. I have a feeling, part of me thinks that Chuck Todd asked the question about 2024 because Manchin wanted the question. And that the staff had let Chuck Todd know that might be a good question to ask him. You know, if I were you, I would certainly ask that question because he maybe is flirting with the idea, and he might have people who are saying you should really give it a shot. I just feel that Biden would love a primary challenge from the left so that then he could tell all of us, see how reasonable I am and how moderate I am. I'm normal Joe. You don't want these kind of nuts. But a Manchin primary, I'm not worried so much that he's going to take away votes from a conservative or Republican. I just don't think he's going to have a shot at the presidency, I have to say now. I'm fully prepared to eat my words. And this pen.
Not much calories in that. Judge, you are an expert on mansions. What say you?
The only thing that, there's not that much I can say about Manchin. I was impressed with him, and when he talks about the division in this country, I think that he speaks about it with a great deal of gravitas because he and Sinema took a lot of crap from the left and from the Democrats. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, they were followed into bathrooms. They were criticized. I mean, they understand the importance of coming together. So in that regard, I see him as a guy who maybe does have the intention of bringing the country together. The Inflation Reduction Act is when he disappointed me. Then he just went pure politics. I don't know. I know that he may have won big in 2018, Jessica, but I know in 2020, Donald Trump won big in 2020 by 40 points. So in that same area. So it'll be interesting to see. I really think there's a future for Manchin. I don't give up on him that quickly.
Jesse, what are your sources on the beach telling you? Any interesting tidbits? Is Manchin running?
Well, my sources inside of his houseboat.
Oh, yeah?
have been telling me he's seriously considering a run.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've met him a few times. He's a good guy. I like him personally. He's a regular dude. And then he just breaks my heart. Yep. He votes for Kavanaugh, and then he votes for the Inflation Reduction Act, and I'm tired of my heart being broken. Hasn't it been broken enough? And I hate when the senator's staff, any senator's staff, tells me what they think I should ask the senator.
Does that happen to you?
All the time, and I never ask them. I hit them with curveballs. That's how I keep them on their toes. The only way he survives if he switches parties and becomes a Republican, and I've been begging him to do that. This show has been begging him to do that for many years.
Not me.
And he still won't do it. I love the political lexicon that we just rattled off. Double cleavage, Angus King.
Cleaving, not
caucus. Oh, cleavage?
Cleaving.
I heard cleavage.
His heart has been broken too much.
Double cleave.
Oh, Jesse,
The double
stop
cleave
it.
bean is a verb.
All right. We got to go.
Got to hand it to me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.